I'm Debbie. I'm from Chicago and I'm a compulsive eater. Hi, everybody. And I am abstinent today because I do as you all do. I weigh and measure my 3 meals a day from the gray sheet, committing them to my sponsor on time. And I do not eat between those meals, no matter what, good or bad. I place abstinence first in my life today, and I've been maintaining my abstinent one day at a time since November 3rd, 2005. Glad to be here, boy. This is really an exciting thing. Some of the people I know and have met, and others I'm glad to say hello to. So anyway, I'll start with my story. I'm going to go back to when I was a little kid. And keep in mind, I was a scrawny little kid with, gangly arms and legs, but that didn't mean anything. I was a compulsive eater from day one. I remember going to my neighbor's house and knocking on the door and asking for a treat. I remember choosing my friends by how good their mothers stocked their pantry with treats and all this different kind of stuff. In high school, my lunch would be from the vending machine, 4 packages and a little glass of milk so I'd stay healthy. And that was how I lived my life all the way until I became an adult. And I was still very thin. And that I liked. I didn't pay attention to my eating so much because I started going to the bars and hanging out and doing drugs. So that kept me away from compulsion with food because naturally I wasn't hungry. So in any event, I went through that period of time, stopped drinking in my 30s, which was wonderful. And the fact of the matter is I went all the way up until I was almost 50 before I gained my weight and went up to 216 pounds. That was not a happy time. I had my stepson return from Oakland, and we were going to try our best at age 19 to get him straightened out and get his GED and all these things, and didn't work out. So at that time, I had what my psychiatrist called a major episode. I'm bipolar ill. I have the bipolar disorder. I'm being medicated traditionally now, and I feel great. But at that time, when I had that a massive explosion, my psychiatrist put me on a medication. Oh, geez, excuse me. My medication on a regimen of daily, I don't know how many milligrams, but the fact is she told me, Debbie, you're going to end up gaining weight. Oh boy, that's all I needed to hear. I'm going to gain weight, guys. So I made sure that happened. I went up from 140 pounds gradually all the way to 216 pounds. And depression set in. Even though I was being medicated, I was depressed. I was not happy with the way I looked or the fact that I couldn't do things physically like I used to, being a strong person, lifting, carrying, all different things like that. I was a mess. I ended up being borderline diabetic. I had some other health issues that caused me discomfort. So I'll tell you how I got abstinent. My sister, who you may have known, was abstinent for many years, and she used to come to the Chicago retreat all the time and ask me over and over again, no, I'm not interested, I'd say, but I'd buy her the best foods and really support her program, but that was not for me. No way. Gray sheet, weighing my food? Forget it. So one day she came one weekend, and it was a nice weekend we spent together. And she said, we could have a good sisters weekend. Okay, that appealed to me. I went out, bought my scale, got a cheap one because it's going on the shelf Monday morning. And I went with her Saturday, and I grabbed someone to take my food. It was a really exciting experience. Even though the first meal I had was breakfast, it was a Spartan meal because I needed something to put in my coffee. So the rest of it was... let's put it this way. I'm surprised it didn't scare me away. But I got to the point in my weighing and measuring where I was comfortable. I felt good. I was starting to look better. And come the dreaded holiday in October. Okay, that was always my favorite. So what I would do now as an adult with children, I'd actually steal their stuff. And then they would say, Mommy, this is gone. Oh, your brother must have gotten it. I was lying to my kids about stupid, stupid treats. That was one thing I didn't like about myself. I got to just tell you a little bit of a story about that same holiday, being that it was in October and it came from August, abstinent as could be. And I decided that my husband better hide these treats because I couldn't control myself. So I asked him to hide it, and he did. And I spent a few hours looking for it. And I finally found it in his truck, buried under a bunch of stuff. So I was delighted. And what did I do? Not one, and put it back. I ate the whole bag. Next day, sick as a dog, shamed, and just very unwilling to call my sponsor. But I did. I got back on the wagon. That was November 3rd, 2005, and I've been abstinent ever since. Thank you. It's been a good journey. It's taken me a while. I didn't like to lead meetings in the beginning after 90 days because, as my sponsor said, get the food down, learn the mechanics, and then you can go into service other than reading and such like that. So I was happy to do that. That was exciting, and it kept me connected to people. And I just want to show you a picture of when I came into program. That's me on a camping trip on Lake Michigan. And you can't really see that lady's face, but she's smiling. And she's smiling with her mouth, but her eyes are not smiling. I felt that my time was over to be attractive or thin. And I said, you know what? It's not my time anymore. It's for the younger people. And that kind of kept me into the thing of thinking being fat was okay. Well, it wasn't. So after my 90 days, I started doing little bits of service here and there. I didn't sponsor people for the first year because I had so many questions. I wanted to be in a position where I could answer sensibly and correctly to a sponsee that would ask me. And over the years, I've had them come and go. I try to treat them with as much respect as I can. I honor their commitment, and I try to keep them plugging away. So on one hand, what keeps me abstinent is the sponsees. I could not imagine saying to them, you know, you got to find somebody else. I picked up the food. And of course, on the other hand, I have my sponsor who I've had probably 13 or 14 years now. And not only would she kick my butt, but I couldn't have the courage to say I've eaten. So those two things keep me sane and keep me on the right path. Questions coming from my sponsees. Sometimes I'm learning stuff too. This program teaches me an awful lot, and I'll tell you what, I've become a better cook because of it. I enjoy my meals, as all of you still do, I hope, and it takes me more time to prepare, but what I'll do is I end up cooking for the family first, putting that down, and you know, it can't be cold, so we do away with the pleasantries of waiting until I'm done to eat. And I usually sit quietly and eat by myself. And you know what? That's okay. I even close my eyes when I'm eating because I'm enjoying the food so much. So that's a big part of my life, is weighing and measuring 3 times a day. And in between that, I can do service. I can be a good friend. I can be a good parent and a good grandma. And those are all the feelings that I like to have. It's not always that way. I have problems. I have situations come up that I feel so overwhelmed. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have wonderful celebrations, babies being born, this or that, but I do not eat between my meals. And I only eat the food that's on the gray sheet, and I make sure that it's 4.0. I don't mess around with that because it's too easy to go ahead and, well, you know, this, and maybe I have a reason to not be absolutely abstinent, but that doesn't work. I got to be specific. I got to be on point, and I can't fool around with any of these things, because I know if I go back into the food, it's all over. I have so much going on and such a wonderful life these days. I sure as heck don't want to have to erase all that by stuffing my face and worrying about what's the next thing I can eat. I never enjoyed overeating, never enjoyed. Is it time?
No, 5 minutes left.
Great, thank you. Boy, am I been rattling. But I just want to tell you, I did start to do service slowly at first, leading meetings. I lead a meeting on Friday afternoons on the phone bridge. We've had Zoom before Chicago went back to in-face meetings, and we were able to keep that going for a year. So that was fun leading that. And in 2016, I was elected to be the GSR for the Chicago area. That was terrific. Then when the current at that time, ISR was leaving, I was asked and nominated to do that position. And I was, oh my goodness, I don't know what that entails. I'm not qualified, but I accept it. And so then I was able to join a committee. Well, I chose the literature committee. That sounded interesting. And little did I know that this was going to be one of the biggest, most important, wonderful times of my life. I had the great honor of working on Living Abstinent. I had the great honor of working under Sarah, because her leadership prompted me to go forward in directions I never would have. The service is without exception. I've met people. Now I have a reason to call them. Before, I'm not going to call them just to say I'm abstinent. I'm too shy or goofy or whatever. I wouldn't do that. Now I have a reason. And I tell you what, it's such a pleasure to be in this program. I have met so many wonderful people, and the difference between commercial pay for what you do programs and this is the people's compassion and our guide, the 12 steps, and the fact that we are all in this together and we will support each other no matter what it takes. That's the way I feel about other compulsive eaters. And if I can help them off the ground, I'm going to do it. That helps me stay abstinent, and it keeps me insulated with people around me. Let's see, what else can I say other than I've made such good friends. My very best friend is in program. I have lovely people all over the world that I can contact at any time or day or night, and what a comfort that is. So with that, I'm going to pass. I'm anxious to hear everybody else's share, and I want to say thank you for letting me share.